Winning once in the Giro d'Italia is magical. Double dipping? Hey, why not? That's what Jhonatan Narváez, the Ecuadorian rider, did in this 2026 Giro d'Italia. Stage 8, here in Fermo, at the top of a climb that seemed to go on forever, gradients so steep, and Narváez powering ahead for UAE Team Emirates to take sweet victory. Stay close to the action with Rouvy, the indoor cycling app that lets you ride, race, and train on the same routes as the pros. Real routes, real results. And if you want to see some action, try finding on the internet the confrontation between two Soudal teammates, Zana and Garofoli, after the finish. Interesting to check out. Now let's roll it back. 153 kilometers in this stage, fast and furious. Rain, winds early on in the stage, on and off all day, and now we're blessed with sunshine, sweet Italian sunshine, which we all need to dry out our clothes after yesterday's battle on Blockhouse. It took forever, it seemed, today for the escape to form, and there were so many riders out there on the road, it was hard to keep track. Of note, though, was Mikkel Bjerg, who launched solo going up the road. That set up the launch pad for Jhonatan Narváez to follow his attack in the duo up the road, UAE Team Emirates, the team of Tadej Pogačar, former winner in the Giro d'Italia, not here racing this year as he's focusing ahead on the Tour de France. Those two riders go up the road because UAE is out for redemption. They lost Yates, Soler, Jay Vine early on stage 2 when we were still in Bulgaria. Now they're out trying to get up stage wins, and they're doing it well. Attention, because Andreas Leknessund was paying attention. He paid attention. He powered up to those two and made a trio that we eventually had for the day, because it was averaging 50 kilometers an hour trying to get this escape formed, headwind down the coast. And once they turned inland, things kind of calmed down, and we saw the escape form right as the 4 climbs were coming up. Cat 3 climb followed by 3 Cat 4 climbs, the final being the punch up to the finish line with those 20% gradients. The trio established a gap that looked pretty good, and back behind we had the team of Rose Rockets with Wout Poels really laying down the hammer. Other riders in there as well. I mentioned Zana Garofoli from Soudal Quick Step. Christian Scaroni was further back, and he would come into play later on. Up the road, it was a matter of how UAE would manage their X Norwegian champion who was there to try to make things confusing. But he couldn't do so. On that second last climb, Capel d'Arco, which is famous for its under-23 race, GB Capel d'Arco, which Jai Hindley won back in 2016 as an amateur rider, there Narváez made his move. But as he said later when I asked him in the mix zone, he said, you're never really sure of your rival, what's possible. They were keeping a close eye on Leknessund. But thankfully, he had Bjerg there to help him out. He was setting shotgun in the UAE mobile with Bjerg at the driver's seat, driving along full force, trying to wear out their rival from X. And Narváez, the Ecuadorian rider who won that stage a couple years ago, denying Tadej a complete pink jersey run throughout the Giro d'Italia when he was still racing for Team Ineos, and rumors are that he's going back to net company Ineos in 2027. Let's focus on 2026 right now. He said he didn't know what Leknessund's capabilities were in the finish, and he kept a close eye on him, but he knew at 10K out or so he had his shot, and he fired off up the road. For a while, Leknessund kept him close, but couldn't manage. He did manage second place on the day. It rode quite well as things fell apart behind, and that massive escape, bits and bobs were attacking up the road, and it was hard to follow as the cameras were on Narváez. Back behind in the GC group, let's focus on that for a minute, because earlier on in the day, it was our race leader, Afonso Eulálio. I'm sorry, I've been mispronouncing it up until now. I've been saying Eulálio. It's Eulálio. It's tough sometimes to get all these names in the international peloton, but he was out on the attack. Ciccone was following him, who's from these roads. In fact, at the start this morning was the church where he was married, so he had home crowds supporting him on the day. He was chasing. Nothing came of that, and then later in the final, best form of defense is offense for Eulálio, out on the attack on these final ramps, but Jonas Vingegaard, race favorite for the overall, trailing him by 3 minutes, was attentive. So was Egan Bernal, Colombian, former winner of the Giro d'Italia, former winner of the Tour de France, also marking him as well. Jai Hindley, Red Bull, Bor Hansgrohe, who we already mentioned has won here on these roads. All of those riders attentive as we were coming up to the final. Scaroni up the road, really the mover and groover, I think jumping up 7 spots on the day in the GC. Back behind in the escape group, the riders that were coming behind our front 2 riders. Well, good news for Uno X, because Leknessund's teammate nabbed 3rd place as Mikkel Bjerg slipped further and further back on the day. So at least they came away with 2nd and 3rd on the day, even though the winner's trophy, the flowers, the pink confetti all went to Jhonatan Narváez celebrating the victory. In the GC battle, Eulálio still leads the overall in that pink jersey. He thinks he can hold on it tomorrow when we head up to Crono alle Scale, but today we're focused on the battle that never stopped, never Fermo, up here in the beautiful mountaintop village. You can see the coast out behind me, the Adriatico right off in the distance, the beautiful rolling hills that make Marquez so famous. It was a true battle today with one rider coming out on top, a double dipper, an ice cream cone with 2 dips on top, a gelato, that's what Italian's known for, and that's what Narváez pulled off today. Due gusti. I think he went with chocolate and strawberry. You let me know down in the comments which flavor you'd go with if you were here in Italy getting a gelato, a sweet gelato to celebrate victory for Jhonatan Narváez at the end of stage 8, the 2026 Giro d'Italia.